okay, even if they're running too thin, local PD offered the drone and they said no.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this as an expert. Is there anything maybe I can't think of that drones pose some sort of threat, or they didn't trust the local government, or any logical explanation that Secret Service is like, no? Anything you can think of?
I mean,
welcome back to the channel, guys. We've got Piry here again with us, and this is going to be round 3 because we got some updated information, and it doesn't sound all that good for the Secret Service. But that being said, Fred, thanks for coming on again, man. And you know exactly what we're going to talk about today, and it's going to be the drone stuff, because apparently there's some updated information, and you want to talk about that. Well, I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good at all. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. Okay. I still say this guy acted alone, but tell me about this whole drone thing.
Yeah, there's, I don't know if it was part 1, part 2, you and I talked about it. And I think you asked me about the drones. And I said, look, you know, from the Uvalde issue that I pointed out, and those Hornets, the small ones that we utilized with some of the SWAT teams. And the fact is that there were no drones utilized by the Secret Service that day. And then information came up that prior to the event, the shooter, Cook, had launched his own drone. So I guess the FBI is still analyzing the video that he took. So, you know, we could speculate probably he was looking at the whole picture. You know,
did he fly that drone while the event was happening, or is it prior to?
From the understanding is it was several hours prior to them setting up that he was flying the drone overhead to probably scout out and look at it from a topo view.
Because the FBI director, Christopher Wray, testified in front of Congress, and they asked him. He said 3 times. The shooter flew his drone 3 separate times. Yeah, 3 times, not once, not twice, 3 times. And the Secret Service never did. Now let's talk about that. So we've actually talked about, obviously, this is our 3rd time meeting up.
Yeah.
And guys, me and Fred will do a lot more videos on this channel because Fred is an expert. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, definitely check it out. Fred has been, well, he's still actually contracted with the U.S. government, but served in the U.S. government for 35 plus years, and he knows the government inside out very well. He has held some really high-end positions, or high positions, special agent in charge, diplomatic security services. What was it? Diplomatic security services, right?
Diplomatic security service. Yeah. And, you know, high threat protection, ran that, was the director of that. And we were running, you know, Israel, Gaza, Afghanistan, you know, Sarajevo at the time, and Iraq, you know, protection in those areas there, you know,
so
focusing
this
on.
Is literally just probably 1% of his resume. I'll put that on the screen as I always do in the in part 1 and part 2. So definitely check out Fred Piry and other videos that we did, and we're going to do more stuff. So we talked about some of this stuff earlier. Part 1 and part 2, they all pretty much one by one shown to be true. And we're just finding out. And unfortunately, we're getting the information piece by piece by piece.
Yeah,
little breadcrumbs. That's what's happening here. But drone stuff. Fred actually mentioned on the 1st or 2nd go around, said, hey, drones, it's a force multiplier. It doesn't cost you really much. Just put a technician up there and good to go. It didn't happen. And now we're getting information, Fred, that Butler PD, or I don't know which one, but local PD offered to fly their drones, which was capable of identifying active shooters, threats also eliminating them.
Yeah.
That's it. And
That's
Secret Service
disturbing.
refused it.
That's disturbing as far as I'm concerned. Some of the stuff I'm still doing with the government, I don't want to get into super details, but I can tell you I have firsthand experience working with drones overseas in some of the high threat areas that we use. And I don't know how we did stuff without them. They're unbelievable. The cameras and the imagery from those things, if you were to fly those over a rally, they're so quiet. They can be up, 1,000 feet and people won't even see them. And you can put them stationary to be able to look over, and then you can zoom in on a rooftop or a certain area there. And, along with that, I was talking to my son who's, this is his world, cyber, IT, computers, all that stuff. And he mentioned just on the commercial side, there is a lot of capability from the commercial market that is out there as far as
Like
drone
what?
defense to drone defense. Some of the things he was telling me about with some of the companies that he's worked with, this Fordham Technologies, Fortem Technologies, because my other nephew worked for some high net worth people in the Malibu and things like that, installing high-end stereo security things. And he had approached my son several years ago and said, is this possible to be able, because a lot of the Hollywood types are worried about privacy issues with drones. And you could put up more or less like a cloaking dome over an area that would restrict, commercial type drones from coming in.
Like how would it restrict?
It would be something on the line like a jamming frequency type of thing, where number one, if they did come in, there would be a radar within there, that a handheld radar, a technician could have that, much like a air traffic controllers looking at radar.
Okay.
They could pick up the drone coming into that dome area there. And then they also have, quote, killer drones that could go up and take the drone down. This is all in the commercial world. So
Wow.
if
And
the commercial world a lot of times is at the cutting edge of this, and they go to try to sell their technology then to the military or the government. How it works.
And then the government's like, hey, we want this. I mean,
they're constantly, even with iPhones and technology, it used to be a year, then it was 6 months. Technology, 3 months now. So the technology's there. It gets smaller and cheaper, and it's a no-brainer to use this stuff. So even commercial countermeasures that can be put in place to stop someone from flying a drone in a certain area.
Okay, I mean that is an incredible information. That's on the commercial side. The military has obviously much more capabilities. So or the government, right? In this specific case, I want to talk about this. The local PD is like, hey, we want to fly our drones. It can not only detect active shooters, it can also take them out. So it's also an offensive drone that was proposed. I don't know what kind of drone that is, but it was proposed. And Secret Service was adamant on no.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid here. I'm asking you, what do you think?
Again, that advanced operation plan, it went back to Washington. Cheatley, the FBI, the Secret Service director, before she resigned, she absolutely answered none of the questions.
Yep.
And quite frankly, I think she was probably clueless as to some of the details that were presented as far as the operation plan, and she couldn't even speak to them. And, stuff went back to headquarters to be reviewed. And I'm sure that probably was put in the op plan. And I really can't fathom why they didn't want it, unless there's some reason that is completely out of this world to us.
Yeah. So Fred, you've prepared op plans.
Yeah.
I've prepared op plans. When you do them, there are multiple pages. They are
Oh.
extremely detailed. Like, this is what you're going to do, who's going to do what.
They're scripted, choreographed, everything. Yes.
Everything. Okay. I don't have to see the Secret Service advanced planning to know this, not even guesstimate it, to know this, because as a person who has prepared op plans, that the drone, the information, like drone information, whether yay or nay, had to be on there.
Real-time information, Kaya. Think about that. Real-time information. That's what you're getting.
That's insane. So, but it had to be on the planning. And you and I both know,
yeah,
when you prepare a planning, other people sign off on it.
Yeah.
How?
Now, this could go, I don't want to get into the politics of this thing, but there's a lot of speculation that I believe some of the congressmen and also senators went out there, and they tried to reenact things. They were up on that roof and doing everything, and there has been some speculation again that the field agents or the people working the actual detail have not been getting the resources that they have been asking for. And that's conflicting back and forth. Their headquarters is saying they're getting all the resources they've ever asked for. Well, who are you asking about that? So maybe they did ask for drones and they were denied at that level. I can't understand why they would have denied them at the local level if they were offered. I mean, if you look at all people who are posting stuff on social media, what are they doing? They're taking an overhead shot, whether they got it from Google Maps or Google Earth or whatever. There's enough overhead shots to clearly show you the building tops, where people were positioned, where the shooter was, a graphics of a line of where the shot went, shot placement, those types of things. There's sound, audio, depicting how many shots were actually fired, those types of things. And I can tell you that in preparing a report, having a shot overhead to show you rooftops, where you can position your people, is fantastic to be able to put in the report, because there somebody can look at it and go, hey, are we covering that roof 140 yards away? It's in direct sight. You could see that directly with an overhead shot. So even during the planning process, a drone's important, taking pictures, because some of the agents, when they come on, this is the first time they're going to see it. So if you can present pictures with everything and as much detail, you're really helping out those other agents before they get posted. They know where all the buildings are. They know where the counter snipers are going to watch in their range cards. They know where the locals are going to be. They know all the postings. It's just great. And then again, we talked about this during the actual event. That drone could pick up things that you can't pick up on the ground or on a second story roof as a counter sniper, looking out. They could be given real-time information if they're spotted, and especially someone on a roof that shouldn't be there.
So now that all obviously makes sense. There's a lot of questions.
It could be politics into this thing where they were denied some resources and they were being pulled for other things. I mean, the Secret Service is protecting a lot of people right now.
Okay.
They take on heads of state, and secret and diplomatic security has all the overseas. Plus, domestically, we'll have foreign ministers, ambassadors, other levels besides the heads of state that the Secret Service has at this time. Maybe they're running too thin. I don't know.
Okay. Even if they're running too thin, local PD offered the drone and they said no.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this as an expert. Is there anything maybe I can't think of that drones pose some sort of threat, or they didn't trust the local government, or any logical explanation that Secret Service is like, no? Anything you can think of?
I mean, the only thing I could think of is that the Secret Service wants to be in control, and if they weren't in the control once Trump comes onto the site, they felt that maybe they can't control the information if somehow that drone is hacked. It could be hacked and somebody could be viewing it. I don't know.
Logical.
I mean,
Okay.
that's a logical explanation there. But again, maybe you got to look at the compromise. Maybe you set that drone up and it comes down 10, 15 minutes before the principal arrives or Trump's arrives. And you did a last minute, hey, we just did a quick scrub. We did a check of all the rooftops and the areas, nothing out of the sight. Again, when was the first time that Cook was spotted? I believe now they're up to 55 minutes, maybe an hour prior where he was suspicious. Okay. And they've got guys on the ground now after they took a picture at 30 minutes and they can't find them. Okay. And again, Trump's not there. Why not send up a drone and start looking around? If their concern is that they didn't want a drone in the sky while the principal is on site, then pull it down within 1 or 2 minutes. It could come down. But if they're trying to find somebody, throw that thing up there. What do you, I can't really understand the logic behind this thing.
Okay. So Secret Service, it's confirmed that some resources were asked by the Trump team. Some of them were denied. And then Secret Service did not deploy drones or a drone up in the air. And then Secret Service denied the Butler PD's drone offerings. So
Correct.
For some reason, Secret Service denied to fly a drone on that arena or whatever you call it, that field.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, the big question, Kaya, too, is who denied it?
Exactly.
The guys on the ground, the lead advance agent, or did Washington at headquarters deny this thing?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Who denied the use of the request that came in from the locals?
Yeah. That is interesting. And we're going to find out, obviously. I saw the FBI director testify in front of Congress.
Yeah.
And they asked him, they said, hey, did you have any information about this, shooter? FBI did not have any information whatsoever about this guy on the database at all.
Yeah.
And this guy is able to go to a former president's, most likely the next president's, Republican nominees rally. He was able to go there before the Secret Service, do multiple scout missions, fly his drone 3 times up in the air, walk around, check things out, range finder, pre-hidden, pre-positioned rifle, get up on a roof, take shot, shoot the president, and kill a person and 2 other people. I don't understand this.
Yeah, you had asked me professional, amateur. We went through all this stuff, and I mentioned about the steps in the terrorist attack. He did pre-operational surveillance multiple times. They say he may have come out to the site a couple days before, but that morning or that afternoon, he was there for several hours, as you said, flew the drone, walked around, had a bicycle, pre-positioned the weapon. And I'm not quite sure if the bicycle was his means of transportation from this van that was parked about a mile away, and then he drove the bike to the site. There's a lot of questions that have not been answered yet. And, just trying to put this together, how did he get there with the weapon? And then he was spotted and he was deemed a suspicious person.
Yeah.
Then it moved up to a person of interest. And the snipers who were occupying that building where he shot from, they were on the 2nd floor. Now, again, they said 2 or maybe 1 had left that post to go out. I guess they took his picture hanging out the window, and then they went out to try to locate him to no avail, and they couldn't find him.
Yeah.
So this is all prior to former President Trump, arriving on site.
Yeah.
So again, this should be going through the TOC, Tactical Operations Center, Command Center, whatever you want to call it. And, again, there is also chatter that the locals were not allowed in there. You had heard that.
I heard about that. And you said,
I can't even figure that one out either.
So
because
I think again, we're going to find out, but ego may have been a player there.
I don't know.
You know what? Ego, like, hey, we're Secret Service. We do our stuff alone,
I mean, these are, again, Kaya, these are all things prior to the incident that are stacking up, not looking good.
Yeah.
To me, the red flag has already gone up.
Exactly.
They've got multiple people trying to locate this individual, and they can't find them.
Yeah.
And, and then, he ends up on this rooftop. Again, two police, one's on the other shoulder, peeks up, and lo and behold, he points the weapon at the police officer. He falls down. I understand he kind of got hurt, not sure to what degree.
He cut his hand pretty good.
The shooting started very shortly after that. And he got off, I believe 8 rounds. I think Director Ray, the FBI director, mentioned that they did find 8 shell casings up on the roof.
Yeah. So, and then immediately, if you actually listen to the audio, he fires his 8th round. Right after his 8th round, you hear a louder thud, like coming from a different gun. It was a 308 from the SR-25. That's when the shooting stops, because that's when the sniper makes that headshot and ends him right there. Some people speculate that there are other shooters or other calibers.
Correct. Now, I was talking to my one partner, and Neil. Neil sent me some stuff. I haven't reviewed it yet, but he said that there's an audio analysis saying that they picked up on 11 shots.
Off something, it makes absolute no sense. Like, it seems like these chains of events happening back to back to back, like almost perfectly. Okay. The reason I keep saying, no, this was a lone gunman, not some deep state or some professional behind it, because Trump didn't die. I believe a professional would not have taken any chances. Like, it was not going to be a 99%. It was going to be 100%. This was going to be done. Okay. That's why I'm saying this guy, that's why it was an amateur's work, is what I'm saying.
An amateur, sometimes it reminds me of that one movie, I don't know, The Amateur or something like that. They're more dangerous because they're unpredictable, and they're slipping through the cracks and doing things that a normal professional wouldn't have put themselves into, and had already come up with an escape route and factored all that stuff in. I mean, this guy did not factor that in. He was on a suicide by cop mission. He knew once he started shooting. Now, one of the things I wanted to touch on that goes in with this is that you mentioned earlier, Director Ray saying, they're scrubbing social media, and they're saying, a 20-year-old, he's got a very limited social media presence. However, and this is what I was saying to a couple people, look at this whole gaming aspect. And that's what they're starting to peel the onion back on. The gaming and the chat rooms within the gaming platform.
A lot of things happen there.
Exactly. It's almost like playing in the dark web a little bit there. Some of these guys are anonymous. They're doing this stuff. You hear that along with these 3 encrypted accounts. I don't even know if that's an email account, a Bitcoin account, a Swiss bank account. I don't know what that is. They just throw these out. And the problem is that information has not been coming out to the public. So what does that do? It breeds conspiracy theories.
Speculations.
Speculation, and it just runs rampant. I mean, the Kennedy thing, there was one film that the Zapruder film, that was a grainy 8mm that, people were picking apart, and look at the grassy knoll, look at this and that. I mean, how many iPhones
Oh yeah.
have come up now, or Androids taking pictures of this site?
Yeah.
There's probably no other event that's happened like this that we have so much video footage, but we don't have any confirmation within the investigative ranks as to what this is meaning and what's happening with the investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, you can update people without compromising the investigation.
Yeah.
Say, hey, we've uncovered this.
We
got
both,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
we both know that, but you know, it's so easy for the investigating agencies, anybody, the FBI and everything's like, oh, this is an ongoing investigation. We're not allowed to
We
talk
won't
about
comment. Yeah, we're not going to comment on it.
We're not going to comment on it. That's it. And you know what? It is what it is. And that's what happens. People speculate.
And that's what's going on right now.
Yeah. And I don't know when this is going to be over, but right now, today, we wanted to talk about this drone thing specifically and some of the stuff that came out of the FBI's directors testifying in front of Congress. But I wanted to touch base on this drone thing. I believe it's significant. For some reason, the Secret Service did not want a drone up in the air, whether it was theirs or somebody else's. They did not want a drone up in the air. That sounds fishy. I don't like it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't even like the idea of this being in any way inside, and I don't think anybody does, right? I still believe to this very moment that this was a lone gunman. He could have been influenced by maybe some other people, but not necessarily a deep state. I still believe that. But now I'm just starting to feel a little bit uneasy about the whole stupid drone thing.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It's just another piece of the puzzle that doesn't quite fit at this point.
Yeah.
And, you know, people are trying to make it fit. And all we did is kind of speculate, look, it's a force multiplier. Why wasn't it used?
Yes.
And if it wasn't, and it was requested and denied, then, you know, somebody further down in Cheadle's chain of command needs to own up and say, hey, in the outplan here, you know, we didn't do this because we needed resources somewhere else or whatever. But
they better have a good explanation for that.
The more people tight-lip about this thing and try to cover it up, it's eventually going to come out, and, you know, some people are going to have, you know, egg on their face.
Yeah, I agree. And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Man, Fred, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you. This was really good, and we got to continue doing this. I can't wait till this investigation is over so you and I can actually get the documentation, whatever it is, and pick it apart together for folks who are watching us.
Yeah. Great, Kaya. Thanks for having me on, and, you know,
we'll see you on the next
one. We'll pick up.
Yeah.
We'll pick up. All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.